Hey everybody, how you doing? Tekking and Brooke here. Me and Brooke are buddies. We hang out every Sunday night. I don't know if you knew that, but we do. And unfortunately, he seems to have lost his afro, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. The dark days are finally here. Ragnarok is nigh. Actually, I think the next chapter of Record of Ragnarok should be coming out pretty soon. I'm really hyped. But no, Record of Ragnarok aside, Brooke is losing his hair. We have a serious problem here. Also, that was to distract you from the fact I got a haircut yesterday. Okay, so today, what are we talking about today? I don't even know what we're talking about today. Look at this. All of this is mainly horse facts, and then down here on the last two lines, that's the actual thing we're going to be talking about today. Horse facts, animal facts in general are just taking over the channel. Okay, we're going to be talking about the anime episodes, the last two specifically. I was going to make a video on episode 1017 last week, and then it just got away from me, and then 1018 just aired last night, or this morning, however time zones work, so I just decided let's just group them together into one video, okay? So I'll say this right out the offset, before we even get into like the animation or like the CG that was used, I will say this much. This animated battle with Kaido versus the Worst Generation really does a great job to just convey that, holy crap, they are fighting a giant dragon. Now, obviously, you could tell this in the manga. Oda does a really good job at depicting the fight in the manga. It's just that there's certain limitations with drawing in a manga format in 2 dimensions, you know, that, like, you really can't see beyond, like, the pages and stuff, like the scale of this going on right now. Kaido is a giant dragon, and all the members of the Worst Generation that are going up against him, Luffy, Zoro, Kid, Killer, and Law, are all relatively normal size for humans, okay? So you'll have a scene where, like, you know, Zoro will get ready to launch an attack, or Kid will launch an attack or something, and then you just have Kaido's giant dragon head just whoosh, you know, just coming down, and they have to jump out of the way, and then his giant serpentine body is just you know, just like rippling past them, and like the air pressure's like knocking them off their feet and getting them like flung around the battlefield like leaves in the wind. You know, that's just the kind of stuff that is better conveyed in an anime setting. Now, when it comes to the CG, yeah, at certain points it's pretty noticeable, but at the same time, I think it's pretty good. You know, it's not that bad. You know, this is not some kind of big budget anime movie, and the CG is kind of subpar. These are episodes of the anime that are done on a time frame and on a certain amount of budget, and I gotta be honest with you, I think the CG works fine. It's used usually just when Kaido does these really big moves like the Dragon Twister, or like the upgraded, like, devastating true dragon twister or whatever, and it's done out of necessity because otherwise I just think it wouldn't look right. The fact that Kaido has that dragon serpent, like, body, you know, it kind of needs to be CG in order to properly convey, like, what he is doing, okay? So I just wanted to, you know, bring that up right out of the gate. Like, the scale of this battle is just way more immersive in the anime, you know, from, like, using the CG and stuff like that. You know, it really also lends to the whole idea of, like, Kaido being this, like, immovable force that just cannot be defeated. So many people have tried. The people of Wano, the samurais, the daimyo, people outside of Wano, like other Yonko, the Marines. Like, this really does give you the perspective of, like, holy shit, a giant dragon is hurtling toward our ship or our town, and there's nothing we can do. He could literally wipe this out with the air pressure of just him passing over us, you know what I mean? So that really lends to a whole other ordeal there. Next thing I wanted to talk about was Kid's Punk Rotten ability, where Kid makes the giant robot, you know, out of his Jiki no Mi, his electromagnetic powers. This was something that I just assumed in the manga, and then when it was actually shown in the anime, I kind of had to pause it and, like, wait a minute. Is that what it looks like? Because in the anime, when he's gathering together all the scrap metal to make Punk Rotten, he makes the arms, and then he makes, like, the torso and the head. The head is kind of part of the torso. It's that skull, right? But then that's all he makes. And it's not one part. It's not like one robot. Because of the electromagnetism, it's literally the head torso part, and then the 2 arms that are, like, floating in front of the body. So it's not like the arms are connected connected that they have a reach. You know, Kid can literally like extend the arm out to like grab an enemy and drag them back in. And this is depicted the same way in the manga. It's just that I always overlooked it. So I just assumed in the manga the arms were connected to the torso. And also, was I the only one that thought that Punk Rotten had legs? Because I thought it did. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Go back and check. But I always assumed it did. I always assumed he just made a Megazord, and then Kid was kind of like on the head of it, you know, like he was the pilot controlling this robot. But no, there's no legs. It's just 3 individual parts of a machine that are kept together through electromagnetism that Kid can just manipulate and move around the battlefield. And I think that is genius, because when you think about his ability to control magnetism, you don't need to have it be one solid structure. You don't need it to be like a Gundam or whatever, right? Kid can literally break up all the pieces of metal and have it swirl about him in a torrent. It doesn't even need to be in a robot shape. He just does that because it looks cool, and it does, right? But yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it makes the most sense because he's taking advantage of what his Devil Fruit can do. Sort of like how Buggy can separate his body in that little bubble. Like, he has a space of like, what was it, like 50 Barabaras that he can control around him, right? Sort of like that with Kid's ability, but with like the metal around him. And even in, even in episode 1018, the one that just aired, and Kaido used the devastating wind gust and it like sliced off part of the arm, you know, they're like, oh no, it sliced off the arm, and Kid's like, I don't give a shit, I can just, you know, it's just scrap metal, I can just paste it back together. It's not like Kid went away and built a Gundam and spent like years making the best Gundam ever. By the way, I don't watch Gundam. What is the best Gundam ever? I know there's some fans out there that are probably really big Gundam and like giant robot anime fans. So like, okay, tell me, because I don't know. With Transformers, I would say it's probably Unicron, because he's like the size of the moon. But is there like some kind of like, you know, Grim Reaper Death Incarnate Gundam that's like the size of a planet that like awakens once every 10,000 years? I know I'm getting probably a little bit close to this. I've never seen Gundam, but I'm pretty damn close. Probably. And it has a giant demon sword that can like split dimensions in half. Some of that had to be accurate, okay? Because I still know my anime, all right? So, yeah, what was I talking about? Yeah, it's not like Kid went away and actually painstakingly built a robot. And then, oh no, the arm got destroyed. That's gonna take, you know, years to replace. No, it's just like, oh, the robot arm got destroyed. Just smack together some more metal and some old, you know, rusty pipes and screws, and it's like, okay, we're good to go, right? That's just how it is. So next I wanted to talk about this scene because this was pretty funny, okay? So this was in episode 1017, and it was the scene where Luffy, Kid, and Law were all like attacking Kaido at once. Yeah, Killer and Zoro were there as well, and we'll get to Zoro's moment because he had a really big moment in 1017 and also another big moment in the last episode as well. But so yeah, we had the scene though where Luffy is like charging at Kaido and he goes into Gear 4th. And in the anime, there's this really elaborate transformation sequence where he's like, you know, muscle balloon, Gear 4th, and he transforms. You see the arm, the other arm, the leg. Oh, I just realized Kid could make Exodia. Yeah, he has like the right arm of the Forbidden One, the left arm of the Forbidden One. Kid could make Exodia. But no, whatever. So Luffy's transforming, and there's this really big dramatic thing. You see the hockey appearing on his body, and then he's like, Bound Man! And it's like really, really epic, and he charges at Kaido. And then cut over to Eustace Captain Kid, who uses his power to make Punk Rotten, this giant robot with the arms and everything like that. And that's a really cool anime-esque transformation sequence right there in and of itself, and that takes a while, the metal coming together, and it makes this giant robot, and it's like, that's awesome. Then you cut over to Law, who just does some, like, movements with his hands. Like, it's like, Luffy, very dramatic transformation. Kid, also very dramatic transformation. Law! And like that's all he does. Now, granted, he uses room to open up a bunch of like the rocks and the boulders on Onigashima, and he draws it up and he makes like a bunch of like spiked rocks around him that he's gonna chuck at Kaido. And he has that really cool line that's like, you know, I'm going to deliver you a surgical death from the inside. But first, I'm gonna slam a bunch of these 10-ton rocks into you. You know, like, so that was just a funny scene that I noticed. That was really good. Let's see here. Okay, so Zoro's scene. All right, so the scene that was added a lot more drama to it in the episode where Zoro takes out Enma and he's about to slice down Kaido, and Kaido, in fact, has to dodge, okay? See, that's how you do it right there. That is how you show and you convey tension in a fight with a character as badass as Kaido. Yeah, we all know he's really strong, but we know he's not invincible. Odin was able to injure him. You know, we know that there are people in the world, even in the episode before the ones I'm talking about now. So 1016, I believe that was the episode that had Kaido, you know, seeing Luffy and like images of Shanks and Odin and Roger and Rocks and Whitebeard behind him. Is like, just how high of a ceiling are you willing to break through, kid? You know, something like that. So we know that there are people in the world that are capable of going toe-to-toe with Kaido, or maybe even Kaido views as superior to his own skills. It's just that a lot of them aren't around anymore. Odin's dead, Rox is dead, Roger's dead, Whitebeard's dead. Shanks appeared in that image too, so I want to think, like, does Kaido view Shanks as superior to him or just as an equal to him? I would imagine Kaido views Shanks as somebody he could contend with. Somebody that if the fight happened and they both went full power, Kaido might lose, Shanks might lose. It can go either way. I don't think he views him as like a superior in the same way that maybe Kaido would have viewed Rocks, for instance, okay? So yeah, we had like a moment like that. So we know things can injure Kaido, and so that is Odin's sword, the Enma, and this is when Kaido realizes, well, he realizes in 1018, but in 1017 he sort of has the feeling, the vibe, wait a second, I remember that sword, you know? And the dramatic aura coming off of Enma, it's more intense in the anime. In the last episode, it was literally a giant dragon shooting out of Enma, a giant purple energy laser chakra dragon, whatever you want to call it, and it like stares down Kaido, and Kaido's like, wait a second, a sword transforming into a giant purple ghost. Holy crap, that's Odin's sword! You know, you don't really tend to miss a sword like that, you know what I mean? Also draws back to the SBS question when somebody asked if all of the Straw Hats had devil fruit abilities, like who would get what. And Oda was like, well, Usopp will get the pocket fruit, which was, what was it? What was his name? He was the 6th division of Whitebeard's crew. I want to say Blamenco, but I don't think that was it. Was it Blamenco? My One Piece knowledge is failing me. I'm going to say it was Blamenco, but I'm thinking it was somebody else, but I might be right. And then he said Nami had the power of the Goro Nomi, which was Eneru's. And he said, well, Zoro would not have a devil fruit per se, but his sword would have the Ua Nomi model Azure Dragon. It would have Kaido's fruit. So it's very appropriate that Zoro's sword, if we're just going to go along with the logic of it having energy dragon abilities, it would make sense that it would take the form of a dragon. You know what I mean? So he attacks, big epic moment. Kaido dodges. Big Mom's like, Kaido, you need to dodge. He's like, wait a second. Holy crap, I do. You know, and he gets out of the way. And then the last episode, we had the moment where he does the dragon twister, and then Zoro does the, you know, the Tatsumaki, his own dragon twister, the black rope dragon twister. And then Kaido's like, you think you can fight me, the dragon, with a dragon twister? I'll show you, you little punk. And he transforms and he goes even more into an insanely powerful dragon twister. So yeah, that's 3 twisters in a row. That's pretty intense, right? But yeah, 1017 ends, and then 1018 begins, though, with Luffy's Kong Gatling. So that was a really epic scene just to see Luffy pound it into Kaido. As many times as he did. You know, just like absolutely like just showcasing how like this is the beginning of the fight for them. They are all pretty much at full power at this point. Luffy took some hits from like Apu at the festival stage, but nothing he can't walk off. So they're all starting this fight at full power, and like there were so many, like it does feel like a boss battle in a video game, and I mean that in the best way possible. Seriously, it's like, okay, this is a boss that has beaten you down so many times before, so you've had enough of this shit. So you go away, you max out everything, you make sure your health is there, your magic is there, you have healing items, you have the best possible weapons and armor equipped that you could possibly do, and you start planning out the battle. You'll be like, okay, first I'm going to go into the overdrive and hit him with this, then I'm going to bust out this weapon, then I'm going to switch into this character. You know, it really does have that feel with it, and it really does get the blood pumping if you've played those kind of RPGs and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, you know, we're going to have Luffy gear forth, Kid going to his Punk Rotten, Law using his strongest moves, all striking Kaido at once. Killer's Scyther Sonic was so cool to see. I didn't want to overlook that. Actually seeing the Sonic blades piercing Kaido seemed really painful for him. It was awesome. The scene where Luffy gets swallowed and then Zoro cuts him and then he opens up his maw and Luffy gets spit back out. Blood sprays everywhere. And then the whole time it's going on, it always feels though that Kaido has control over the battlefield even after they've knocked him down and they have caused blood to be shed from him. It always just feels, just because of his size and his haki and his just overwhelming power and presence, it always feels like Kaido, no matter how much damage he takes, his health bar only went like here. Okay, like you still have so much of the fight left, and you know, people like me that have read the manga readers out there, I'm not going to spoil anything, but suffice to say, the battle goes on for a while. Suffice it to say, we're not close to being done yet. All right, so we're at chapter 1003 or 1004, I think 1003, and yeah, we're at chapter 1050 about to happen in the manga. So yeah, we still got fight left, absolutely there. The fight, or at least the episode, ends with Kaido emerging in the smoke, and we don't get to see his hybrid form, but everybody's there. Luffy's very weakened after Gear 4th disengages, and he's like, Kaido, what's going on? And then Kaido emerges, and he's like, I think I'm finally having fun. And you know what? That's the great way that the anime and the manga are paced, because now that we're near the end of the fight in the manga, whereas the fight is just getting started in the anime, you get to really appreciate, like, the scale of everything, you know, like that in a way I didn't get to do when I was reviewing the manga, because I didn't know what was coming next, you know, it was just, you know, manga chapter, like, okay, cliffhanger, what's going to happen next week. But now that we're at the scene where Kaido is emerging from the smoke in his man-beast form, and he's saying, I think I'm finally starting to have fun, I think I can finally be serious, like the fight is just getting started. Everybody that's read the manga understands the full weight of what that means now, you know what I mean, considering how much more is left. Okay, like that was just a warm-up, that was just a preamble. Killer's Scyther Sonic, Kid using the trash compactor technique, Luffy's Kong Gatling or King Kong Gatling, whatever, Law using his techniques, you know, all that stuff, Zoro slicing Kaido using the demon dragon aura from Enma. That was just the tutorial for Kaido. It's like, all right, now it's time I warmed up a bit. You know, like that's how it goes, right? So yeah. The remaining of the episode of 1018, we focus on the Cypher Pole Zero in their indestructible waiting room, which I am finally happy has a proper appearance, and it does seem indestructible. There's all this chaos and explosions and everything going on the roof and in the festival stage, but no, that indestructible waiting room, it's very quiet. It's got some great soundproofing or something. The 3 Cypher Pole Zero agents are there looking at the go board, you know, marching it out to see what the troops are on the samurai side versus the Kaido's Beast Pirate side, which also includes Orochi's forces. The one thing I wanted to mention about this was the way that the go board was announced, like on which side, and it was actually one of the geishas off to the side that was playing the biwa or the shamisen, and she's the Mary, and she has like the tag on her face, but she's singing it, and she's not just saying like, you know, there's 5,000 samurai versus 30,000 you know, beast pirates. She's announcing it like in song, like a rhyme sort of thing, where it's like, there are 5,000 samurai, dun dun dun, and 30,000 beast pirates. Our forces are larger than theirs. They will be crushed. Do do do. I just thought that was an interesting way to convey it. You know, a very dry resuscitation of just like keeping track of the soldiers done in that way. So if they continue with that, because we're going to cut back to the cipher pole a few different times, keeping track of the go board. If it's done that way every single time, that'll be a way to keep it a little bit more interesting, right? So there was that. I am probably missing a few things. Like I usually, when I talk about episodes, there's always something I'll miss, and somebody will be like, Tekking, how could you miss the coolest part of the episode? But it's like, yeah. Oh, there was the scene where Law counter-shocked Big Mom. That was pretty good. That was a pretty good scene, yeah. But anyway, next one's going to be pretty intense. The fight is continuing, so we'll see where this goes next time. And then we'll be getting into the Toby Roppo fights as well properly, so that'll be really good. So yeah, that's the video. So now we can move on to horse facts.
Tekking talks about horses.
So this horse fact is going to be about the Tekking. Tekking. I know I'm pronouncing that right because I watched one YouTube video where one guy pronounced it. So there you go. Tekking, which works great because I'm Tekking101. So this is the Tekking. It's native to Turkmenistan, although there are, you know, other breeds in North America that have, like, just traveled around the world. It's a very old horse breed. Purportedly around 3,000 years ago is when this horse popped up, so around 1000 BC. The ancestor or the direct ancestor of this horse, as well as the Arabian horses, might have very well been, it was a species of Oriental horse that, like, our ancestors rode around back in the day. It was, like, one of the first, like, domesticated horses, okay? So this is, like, the direct descendant of one of those. It's also known as the golden horse, and it's very highly adaptable. Let's see here. It's probably best for sporting, so it's like a more of a hot-blooded horse, as we learned about the different terminology of the horses, the hot bloods, warm-blooded, and the cold-blooded horses. This is definitely more of a warm and hot-blooded breed, meant for dressage, racing. In fact, there was a Soviet, I don't even know what you would call it, Soviet dressage expert, I don't know, horse rider, named Sergei Filatov, who won the Olympics, the Summer Olympics in Rome in 1960, like the dressage competition with this type of horse, the Tekking, and he went on to win the 1964 and 1968 Olympics in dressage using this horse. Okay, so this horse is pretty epic. Go check out the Tekking. All right, we'll get on to the Arabian horse as well, because I also want to talk about that. But thanks to Goosey, who was the person that recommended this horse breed. All right, so that was the video. Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking and Barry signing out. Later, everyone.